Okay, now we're going to do interesting things. So far, we've not really done much with displaying because while there are basic display features in Drupal, to do most displaying lists of things are actually done with a module called views. So you go to structure and then you go to views, and we're going to add a new view. And it is going to be called, actually we'll call it librarians. Okay, and we want to show users. Now, if we wanted to show nodes, we would show content. If we wanted to show taxonomy terms, we're doing users. And we want to, let's just do news first. We'll probably change that. And now here's what we said, the title of the page, and then the URL, so that we can access it later. We're going to have a table. We're going to go with the table, I think. Yeah, I'll go with the table. We want to display 10 to a page. We're going to use a pager, which means that at the bottom of the page, if there's more than 10, it'll say, do you want to go, it'll give you a next arrow to go to the next page. Let's actually create a menu link. Let's call it Your Librarians. And let's continue and edit it. That just kind of sets up the basics of your view. Okay, so now this gets into what your view actually is. Now, the nice thing about this is that it will always it gives you a preview of what it's going to look like. Okay, so since I'm the only person who's set as a librarian, we want to let's go to what's called filter criteria. And so we want to, so right now it's set to filter to only users that are active, that have been approved. But let's add a new filter. And we want to go down to users. And we want to go to roles. Now you notice that this is basically a list of all the variables you can use for filtering. And there are different things like access logs, and then the first part before the colon gives you kind of what they are: a date, file usage, global, which means it's generally, and then user. This is different elements of users: authentication, name, date created, current email address. If you wanted to, filter by any of those, and we'll actually use some of these later. You'll see that we reuse them over, and it's, they're basically variables. Is a librarian. We do not want to expose this. Apply. So now only I'm listed, because I'm the only person who is set as a role of librarian. Now I can go and set you all to a role of librarian, or actually you technically can as well. Or we can, put up another profile that's a librarian and list them. So, but we don't want to see my username, because that doesn't tell you anything. So what we want to do is we want to go to the fields, because the format of this is a table, which is what this is. This is a table. And this is the fields. It only has username, but we don't want username. So let's add the fields that we actually want. And what we actually want is first name, last name, and you can select on more than one of these, and it'll send you through each of them. And picture, and not roles, staff role, which is the one we created, and apply. And then it asks if we want to create labels, and whether or not we want to. Basically, it's for formatting. Do you want to have a label? Do you want to put a colon after that label, and then you can also, there's lots of other things you can do. None of what you're going to do at the moment. And what to do if there's no results. What to do if you can rewrite the results if you want to do that. And it's going to ask us for this for each of the ones we chose. So that was first name, last name, picture. Actually, we don't want a label for picture because people can tell that a picture is a picture of the person. Oh, actually, no, we do want... Oh, well, we'll fix that. Okay. So now this is what it gives me. Oh, and what... Okay. So now, because we chose a table instead of some other format, we actually probably do one picture on there because it doesn't make any sense to have everything else, to have one blank and everything else filled out. And we don't want the username. So let's go up to fields and let's go to name, which is the username, not the first or last name. And we want to exclude from display, which is a choice. You can exclude any, you can select things to display, you can select fields to display and then exclude them from display, and I'm about to show you why too. So let's go do that. Okay, let's go back and fix that picture thing. We do want a label. Create a label. Let's call it picture. And no, you can also choose to link a particular field to the user's profile. Let's not do it that one. How am I supposed to... Okay, so this is what it would look like and does look like. Well, let me go. Okay. Here's the thing about Drupal. Make sure you save. Make sure you click the save button, because it doesn't necessarily save things unless you click the save button. Sometimes some elements kind of do save, or they save temporarily. If you want it to actually be saved, you have to click the save button. Okay, so now it's supposed to have created a menu element. So here it is, staff. Oh, oops. We created it in the wrong place. Apparently it's up here, so down here, and now we have the block holder that we made. So we'll click here and we'll fix that in a second. So and then it lists all of your people. Now you can actually, now we're gonna actually change what this looks like in a second. And that didn't line up very well either. That's not good. But, you know, one of the things about things like, if that's not really a problem. That's not an actual problem. That's just kind of a, oh, okay, it didn't line up right. You know, we need to figure out exactly how to get it to line up right. Okay, so let's go back to structures. And views. And here's our view that we want to edit. We want to edit it. Okay. So for some reason it didn't line up correctly down there. It does in the view. Let's not worry about that right now. Okay, so let's actually do something fancy. Okay. What we're actually going to do is we're going to change first name and we're going to exclude it from display. Okay. So now it just has last name. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to change the last name. We're going to change the label to just name. And then we're going to rewrite the results. Okay. What we want to do is rewrite the output of this field. And down below that it gives you a list of what are called replacement patterns. So these are all the values you can use to rewrite that field. And what we want to actually do is we want to have it so that the name is displayed as one name, even though it's two variables. field sub last sub name, and let's see. Let's apply that and we'll watch it change. So now it just says name and it has the name. It doesn't have a last name and a first name. Okay, so let's save that. Make sure and save it, because if you don't save it, you lose it. You might lose it. You don't always lose it. It's just one of those things. You should always save it because you might lose it. Okay, so now, for some reason, we're still getting that not lined up. Okay, anyways, so now it has Brent Hanner. Role pictures over there. Anyways, not quite sure. Still not quite sure why it's doing that. It doesn't really matter at the moment. Content, structure, views. Okay, so now, because they're librarians, we want to, let's say you want to be able to click on their name and go to their user profile, right? That's the kind of thing you'd want to do. In order to do that, first we have to add, no, not that, the user ID, which is a number. Everyone has one. I'm number 1 because I was the first person, and it goes up from there. Okay, so apply, exclude from display, apply. Okay, so since name is actually the last name field, we go to the last name field, which now displays the first and last name, and we go to rewrite results. We want to also output this field as a link. Okay, so we click on that, and we're going to use those same replacement patterns, except now we want, oh, okay, can't do that like that, and I'll show you why. Okay, what happens is that Drupal only gives you access to rewrite values that are above what you're editing. So since we need the user ID, it has to be above last name. Just like first name has to be above last name because we want it in the name. So we apply that. We've now changed the order to move the user ID up. And we want to rewrite behavior, output as a link. And we want the replacement pattern for the user ID. Just going to copy it. And we go to the link path. And I believe it is user/user ID. That may be incorrect. We'll have to see if that works or not. Apply. So now it creates a link there. Oh, I've got a space after that, but I think it works anyways. So now it links to the actual ID. Now we need to save it, because you always have to save it, save it, save it, save it. Okay, so let's close it. Now let's click on your librarians and see, now it's a link, and when you click on it, it goes to my user profile. And